All right, so our second chart that we go over is the column chart itself. Now, just like in the pie chart, if we go into the show code section and then we copy the whole code itself from here to here, and then we insert it into our example page just right here, and then we make sure that the div is the same as this one, then it means that once we open the page, example page, we can see that it looks like this, so it works. Now let's go over the customization options just like the pie chart. First, we have a design. As I said in the pie chart, it's either a modern or a minimalistic, a cyberpunk, a professional, or a custom. And if you choose a custom one, you can set the background color, text color, grid color, border color. Some of these elements will be affected directly, they affect the chart. Some of them aren't. For example, in the pie chart, you've seen that the grid color did nothing particularly, or the border radius, but here it does. Because let's say I set the text color to white, right? Looks like this. Let's say I set the grid color to a blue one. Look at those small dots on the background. Let's say I set it to a blue one. Now it's blue, so it affects it. Also the border radius. I can do a full square one, or I can do it like this, and then they become kind of like these rounded edge, right? So some of these are going to directly affect them. Some of these are going to not directly affect. Again, you can choose font family, you can choose font weight to be bold, etc., which directly controls the particular text, right? So that's for the design. In the chart mode, you can now have a chart mode that wasn't in the pie chart. It's a new thing. So like I said in the first episode, the main tutorial, we are not going to create separate column charts just because you want to create a single, a grouped, or a stacked series, kind of how you want your data to be. But instead, we create one single column chart as per the column category. And inside, you just have to initialize your data mode to be either a single series, a grouped, or a stack. Now, what is single? Looks like this. You have single data points, right? What is the grouped one? The grouped one is look like this, where the Q1 is grouped together 3 different values. Q1, 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 but it's a product A, a product B, and a product C. In the Q2, you have a product A, B, C, A, B, C. So it's a grouped version. What is a stacked one? Stacked version is the same as the group, but the layout means that they're going to be top of each other, not next to each other, right? So you just basically, and what's the difference between, if you go to the show code, then when we go into a stacked, true or false, basically says, in this case, stacked is false. If I would set this one to a stacked one, it would say that the stacked is true. Now, other than that, how you control it is how you initialize your data. In the single series, the single series doesn't matter if this is true or false, because you initialize your data with a single name and a single value, a single name and a single value. But as soon as you go to a grouped version, we expect you to initialize your data with one name containing an array of values and an array of series names. Array of values, array of series names. And from here, the only difference is that this is either true or false. Because if you just keep the same exact data, like this, like a stacked or a grouped data, basically, so a array value and array series name data, and you set it to true, stacked, that it's a stacked version. You set it to false, that means it's a grouped version, right? So stacked false, but we have arrays, that means we are in a group. But if it's, as you can see, a stacked one, that means that you have an array, but in this case you have a stacked true, so that will make it a stacked one. That's a very simple and straightforward initialization, how you can make different chart modes, basically. All right, so let's take it to the single series and let's go through the other customization options. Column spacing, how much spacing you want between the columns themselves, right? Animation duration, how fast the animation should appear. It should be a really slow one or a really fast one. Dark mode, as I said in the earlier ones, it fully supports dark and white mode. The text, the outline, everything changed from white to black the moment you switch themes. You can synchronize it to your application theme, meaning you change your application theme and it directly changes the initialization theme of the whole chart itself. Grid, show grid or doesn't show grid. See the dotted lines in the background? I click here, now they're not there anymore. I click here, now they're there. How show grid or doesn't show grid. Labels, how to show labels or doesn't show labels. If you don't show labels, there will be no titles right here. If you show it, there will be. showLegend on the top right corner should be a nice little cheat book which says whatever colors what they represent, or it shouldn't be. Tooltips, if you hover over, it's going to tell you a nice little tooltip. If you take it off, it will not say tooltips. showValues, meaning that it should say the values on top right here, or if you do like this, it won't show it. Simple and straightforward. Glow effect, add the simple glow effect or not. And of course the custom colors, meaning that you can fully customize the color to your liking, whatever color you prefer into your chart. Now the KMBT format, as discussed in the previous versions, you are sending the data value as 25,000, 32,000, 28,000, but it shows as 28K because KMBT format enabled. Above 1,000 it's K, above 1,000,000 it's M, above 1,000,000,000 it's B, above 1,000,000,000,000 it's T. So if I disable this, it shows the full values. If I enable this, now it just say 28K, simple as that. Custom axis minimum and maximum, what this do? Basically, this allows you to set what should be the minimum value and the maximum value of the y-axis, your value axis. If I set this one, let's say to 7,000, it will start from here, not from 0. So 7,000 starts from here. As you can see, it went straight away down, right? I could set it to 13K, and now everything goes down accordingly. But the maximum value is 35. Could be why it's 35, because the 35 is the largest value in your data set. That's why it's 35. But we could set this one to maybe 55,000, and that would mean the maximum value is way larger, so everything will shrink. Look at this, and now goes down. So basically this means that from and to what would be the minimum and the maximum value of your vertical, in this case vertical, in the other charts like bar charts, it could be the horizontal chart, but the value axis. That's all it takes basically, and that's what it means. Now custom axis, like I discussed in the previous versions, the prefix or so-called suffix and afterfix. So we can put a $sign here and we can put USD like this, which would basically mean $sign 25K USD. So we have a prefix which just puts before the value a particular fix and after the value of particular fix. Because you're sending your data as raw values, raw numerical values, I'm allowing you to put before or after certain elements. Now you could change this with JavaScript, alter the DOM, etc., but it's easier like this because it's developer friendly. You can, before you sending your charts, you can say return the chart with these pre and after fixes. So each value should be formatted with a KMBT format, put a $sign behind it and a USD after it, right? It's really straightforward. Now down to the key features. I tell you a few things to know about it. Perfect for recommendations, what to use it for, and of course the configurable options, which basically tells you all the different customizable options that you can do from the design up until the font weight. This belongs to the custom theme, and then from there the custom color down here into the value axis max. This basically represents every customizable options right here. Now, of course, like I said earlier, always come here and always check, because you might find something here that it's not present in the demo section, mostly in the line and area charts. And we'll talk about it on these particular videos, but it's always worth to check the configurable options, see all the values that you can do. And then, of course, data format, it tells you how to set up a single series, and it also tells you how to set up a group series. So grouped were stacked, and this one is like, so values are in an array, colors are in an array, and it basically tells you how to initialize it. The only difference which makes it a group or a stacked one is that in the code, as you can see, the stacked is either true or false. That's what it takes. That's it for the column chart, and let's move on the next video to the bar chart.